These missiles were launched from Iranian territory, likely from areas around Tehran and other strategic missile bases, targeting multiple Israeli military installations and urban centers such as Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. To achieve this, Iran deployed hypersonic missiles attack on Israel, launching approximately 100 ballistic missiles and drones, including hypersonic variants and many salvos. This was a retaliatory strike following Israel's massive airstrikes on Iranian nuclear and military sites. Assuming the IDF intercepted 90% of the projectiles, even if just 10 managed to get through, the damage could still be devastating. A single ballistic missile warhead has the potential to destroy an entire city block, as we've seen in past strikes on Tel Aviv. Unlike earlier missile attacks, the June 2025 strikes saw a significant use of drone swarms alongside ballistic missiles to saturate and complicate Israeli air defenses. Over 100 Shahed drones were launched in the initial retaliation. Some were intercepted over Jordanian and Saudi airspace, indicating a more complex multi-domain attack strategy. The truth is, Israel could not have intercepted all the missiles without U.S. intervention. So how did this happen? A U.S. Navy destroyer, the USS Thomas Hudner, stationed in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, actively engaged and shot down Iranian missiles headed toward Israel. Another destroyer was moved forward to be on standby, available if requested by the White House. American fighter jets also patrolled the skies across the Middle East to protect U.S. personnel and installations amid the heightened tensions. These U.S. assets operated in coordination with Israel's own missile defense systems, such as the Iron Dome and Arrow interceptors. Let's explain why they are launched at different time intervals, as these drones usually have a speed of around 114 miles per hour, which translates to approximately 185 kilometers per hour. In comparison, a cruise missile has a speed of around 500 miles per hour, which is about 800 kilometers per hour. A ballistic missile, on the other hand, has a speed of around 3,836 miles per hour, translating to approximately 6,174 kilometers per hour. That is exceptionally fast, and as a result, will catch up swiftly. So in summary, when the drones reach the designated target, the cruise missiles and the ballistic missile will eventually strike their targets at almost the same time. Iran used variants of the Shahab-3 ballistic missile in its latest attack on Israel. The Shahab-3 is the foundation for all of Iran's medium-range ballistic missiles and uses liquid propellant. It can carry a warhead weighing between 760 and 1,200 kilograms, which translates to 1,675 and 2,645 pounds. How it works. Step 1. The missile is positioned at a 90-degree angle and then fired. Step 2. The ballistic missile's trajectory takes it outside or near the edge of Earth's atmosphere. Step 3. The warhead payload separates from the rocket that carried it aloft and re-enters the atmosphere, descending towards its target. Step 4. The missile can carry a single or multiple warheads, depending on the variant. The warhead separates from the single-stage rocket after it has traveled about more than half the distance to its target. The most prolific Scud variants had a circular error probable of 300 to 450 meters. This means that 50% of the missiles fired at a target would land within a circle of that diameter. But how did Iran's missile deployment differ from previous attacks on Israel? In June 2025, Iran launched over 100 ballistic missiles and more than 100 drones in multiple waves. But on October 2024 strikes, which involved about 200 missiles but not the high-caliber ballistic weapons and were spread over fewer waves and with less drone integration. 2024 Operation True Promise was focused on 3 military sites, such as Nevatim Air Base near Beersheba and Tel Nof Air Base, both of which house the billion-dollar Israeli F-35 fighter jets and other high-value assets. Additional targets included the Hatzerim Air Base in the Negev Desert and the Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv. Before we looked into how Fatah missiles managed to penetrate Israeli air defense, we have to understand how Arrow 3 missile works. Since I've been traveling to the UK and Ireland recently, we've had to rely on airport Wi-Fi, which can be dangerously insecure. Using Surfshark VPN, it not only encrypts our data but also changes our IP address, allowing us to appear virtually anywhere in the world. Now take a look at my Netflix account. As you can see, I'm currently set to Ireland. You have hundreds of countries to choose from. When you found the country you're looking for, simply click it. In this case, I choose a US server. And just like that, you're in Netflix US. Beyond streaming, Surfshark VPN also includes robust antivirus protection to shield your devices from viruses, malware, ad trackers, and third-party snooping. And finally, with just a single Surfshark VPN subscription, you're not only covering yourself, you can also protect your friends, family, or even your entire city if you really wanted to. So go to our link surfshark.com/AITELI by buying through the promo link. You'll get 4 extra months free, assured by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Arrow Missile Defense System consists of 3 basic parts: the Missile Launcher Unit, the Green Pine Radar Antenna, and the Arrow Missile. The Missile Launcher Unit is composed of 6 erector launcher tubes, housing ready-to-fire missiles. Positioned at the rear of a 2-axle trailer, each launcher, when fully loaded with 6 launch tubes carrying ready-to-fire missiles, weighs 35 tons. The Green Pine radar serves as the warning and fire control radar for the Arrow 3 anti-ballistic air defense missile system. It plays a crucial role in target detection and guidance. The Arrow operates as a 2-stage missile. Let's look inside this engineering technology. This is the solid propellant booster and sustainer rocket motors. At the rocket's peak sits the ignition chamber, triggering the combustion of the solid propellant when activated. This propellant isn't just any substance. It's a meticulously crafted blend of fuel and oxidizer poured into a casing and then cured. Encasing this blend is a protective shell called the motor case. At the core of the rocket lies the propellant burning zone. Here, the solid fuel and oxidizer react, producing incredibly high-temperature combustion gases, which helps to launch the rocket at incredible speed above the Earth's surface. Moving further to the front, the most important part of the missile is the kill vehicle, which can be divided into 3 basic parts. The second stage is the propulsion system with a thrust vectoring nozzle. Just above it is the warhead, a directed high-explosive fragmentation weighing 150 kilograms, which translates to 330 pounds. The third stage is the seeker, capable of pivoting itself to track its target. But what's the big deal about this long-range anti-ballistic missile system? Let's start with the propulsion system. The famous THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, uses a divert attitude control thrusters. In comparison to the Arrow 3 kill vehicle, which utilizes a thrust vectoring nozzle with a solid fuel rocket, it has a shorter and more limited burn time. It has a few advantages, one of them being the ability to compensate for a lack of radar accuracy. When the radar sends the interceptor to an inaccurate target location, the Arrow 3 kill vehicle can adjust its trajectory. Since intercontinental ballistic missiles travel at very high speeds, the kill vehicle must change its trajectory based on newer, more accurate radar data from its seeker. A failure to fully divert the course to the new target would result in a failure to intercept. Now let's take a look how the Israeli defense system works. The Israeli defense system consists of 3 tiers. First up is the long-range Arrow missile defense system, which was designed specifically with Iranian missiles in mind. Each of these system rockets costs a few $1,000,000, and they can intercept missiles outside the Earth's atmosphere, resulting in enhanced protection. The second layer of defense is the so-called David Sling system, designed for taking out missiles and drones. Finally, the Iron Dome stops most short-range rocket attacks in Israel. Let's take a look at why the Iron Dome failed to intercept the Iranian ballistic missiles. Apart from discussing the multi-layered missile defense system, the Iron Dome itself has a range of around 40 miles, while the David Sling can intercept ballistic missiles up to a range of 180 miles. The top-tier Arrow anti-ballistic missile systems can target threats up to 1,500 miles away. According to reports, 180 ballistic missiles, which are possibly hypersonic as claimed by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, were launched. Although the Arrow missile defense system successfully intercepted many missiles before they reached Israel, many still got through. The main problem behind the failure to intercept was after the detachment of the glide vehicle from the launcher. The glide vehicle can change its trajectory multiple times, which confused the Arrow missiles. This maneuver also bypassed the David Sling and finally the Iron Dome system, which is not designed to counter hypersonic missiles like the Fatah II model. As a result, the interceptor missed their targets and the glide vehicle landed on military bases where the $100 million F-35 jets were stationed. Let's examine the cost implications of a single day of missile attacks. Iran expended over $200 million by launching ballistic missiles along with drones. whereas the IDF spent $1 billion to defend itself. This includes the Era missile, which costs around $2.5 million. The David Sling costs around $1 million to produce, while the Iron Dome costs around $20,000 to $100,000 for a single missile, depending on inflation. By contrast, Iranian ballistic missiles cost around $200,000 each, and its drones only $20,000 to $50,000 each. We also make original engineering content, so please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos.